You've probably heard of the story of the Titanic, its tragic sinking, and the iceberg. But what if I told you there's more to the story, especially when it comes to one man, Charles Lightoller, arguably the most controversial man regarding the Titanic incident? Was he a hero, or did he cost lives? Well, to understand that, we need a little bit of background, so let's jump in. Commander Charles Herbert Lightoller was a British mariner and a naval officer, who was the second officer on board the Titanic. At sea, Lightoller had the 6 to 10 watch every morning and night. After a reshuffle of the officer ranks, Lightoller became the second officer, while David Blair, who had the key to the binoculars, was excluded from the voyage, resulting in lookouts lacking binoculars. As the Titanic began to sink, Lightoller took the charge of lowering the lifeboats on the port side of the boat deck. Lightoller interpreted the Smith's order for the evacuation of women and children as essentially women and children only. As a result, Lightoller lowered lifeboats with empty seats if there were no women and children waiting to board, meaning to fill them to capacity once they had reached the water, leaving 80% of the men stranded on the sinking ship. When Lightoller helped at Collapsible D, a type of raft, he saw a group of men and hopped into the boat, drew his revolver and encouraged them verbally to get out. Lightoller later recalled that the gun was not even loaded. Lightoller's actions were driven by a sense of duty and adherence to a strict moral code. He believed it was his responsibility to ensure that women and children were evacuated first. His strict adherence to the women and children only policy drew significant criticism. Many felt that this interpretation of this order contributed to the high number of male casualties, as it left many men stranded on the ship while lifeboats were launched with empty seats. Was he a hero or a villain? The answer may vary among people. Some people believe him to be a hero because he saved many lives that night, adhering to a strict moral code, while others complain that he was a man who did everything by the book. They called him big-headed, stubborn, and inflexible. In other words, incompetent for the role that was needed. He never apologized or showed any regret for his actions that night. He was cruel, needlessly rigid, and as a result caused unnecessary deaths. Some even mention that as for the gun, that happened later as people realized their mistake and started to rush panic, trying to overload and rush the remaining boats, endangering more lives. After the Titanic disaster, Charles Lightoller returned to the White Star Line, serving on a RMS Oceanic, a ship. When World War I broke out, he was called to the Royal Navy and served an Oceanic, now an armed cruiser, until it ran aground in 1914. Disillusioned by the Titanic's legacy, he left the company and tried various jobs, including innkeeper and property speculator. Lightoller's actions during the Titanic disaster have sparked significant discussion over the years. While some view him as a heroic figure for his efforts in saving women and children, others criticize his adherence to the women and children first policy, which left many men behind. This debate continues to evoke strong opinions, as people grapple with the complexities of his decisions amid a chaotic and tragic situation. In summary, Lightoller's legacy is a blend of heroism and controversy, illustrating the moral dilemmas faced during the Titanic disaster. His actions saved lives but also raised questions about duty and responsibility. What do you think about Lightoller's legacy? Was he a hero, a villain, or something in between? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more fascinating discussions. Goodbye.